Times what you think. I don't need to have somebody take a room overnight at a hotel. So
yeah,
like it's like he might actually be finally making some real money, because my guess was that his wealth was literally aspirational on some level, like in the sense in his head. And I think now, after a couple of years in the presidency, he might be making some real
I'm totally
cash.
feeling it. Laura Ingraham getting back into the mix. She's been out of the news for a while, and she sees an opportunity. This is maybe she's like going to get her own Kaepernick story. She has Ben Watson on. It's from the Patriots, and Watson basically is arguing. It's based on this piece that was written by Jamel Hill. It's time for black athletes to leave white colleges, because we do have a system where, and college athletes don't get paid.
Pay them.
They generate so much money for these institutions that it is stunning.
If you look at who the highest paid state employee in a lot of states, it's the football coach.
It's the football coach. But the players don't get don't get anything. They get, like, I saw something that Lowe's was giving out a lawnmower to a kid.
That was the Carolina Panthers.
The Carolina Panthers they gave out a lawnmower from Lowe's to a kid who's trying to raise money for college. And somebody did the math, like,
wow.
The kid would need to like mow 3,500 lawns to, pay for state school. And, the bottom line is like, this is out and out incredible exploitation. And it's very hard to look at these teams and say, hey, there's a sort of tinge of racial exploitation here too, maybe. We're going to go to areas where maybe there's a decent amount of poverty, and this is their one ticket out. And so the idea that, yeah, of course, student athletes should be paid and they should be unionized, just like professional athletes, because they're professional in every way except for the fact they don't get paid.
They are creating value.
Without a doubt. Extraordinary value. And they pay them, and then they can pay their tuition. How's that? And they should have a lot more left over based upon what they generate. But here is the debate. Like, how dare these people?
Reaction to the story we covered last week, where former ESPN anchor Jamel Hill created kind of stir with a piece in The Atlantic where she argued that black athletes should stop attending white majority colleges. What's your reaction to this?
Well, I read the article, and when I saw the uproar over it, I read the article, and I agree with her. She had some great points in that article. When you look at the history of HBCUs and you look at the hundreds of thousands of black professionals that have come from these schools over the course of the last several years since they've been created, and you look at what's been lost since integration has happened, what she was saying was simply that athletics is a multi-billion-dollar business. I went to two historically white universities, Duke University and University of Georgia, that have a lot of money based on athletics. What she was saying that, look, we're living in a time where there's a big racial wealth gap. The average white family has a net income, a net worth that's 10 times that of a black family. And so if we're able to have some of these athletes that create so much income go to some of these schools, not that white students don't go and students of other ethnicities don't go. We live in a time where everybody can go wherever they want to. But what she was saying simply, if we're trying to pump money and revenue into some of these communities, that there's still this big disparity, this may be a way to do it. Obviously, that's in a vacuum. Yeah. There are other factors to figure into that. But when you read her argument, look, she lays it out very, very cleanly, and it's actually something that I agree with.
Pause it for 1 second. I have two things to note right here. One, Benjamin Watson, my new favorite Patriot, A. B, you can look at the look on Laura Ingraham's face going like, why the hell did we book a football player who's going to sit here and completely make this so obvious as to why this should happen? I thought we were getting a football player here so that I could look like the smart one.
Yeah, some extra context on that is they thought Ben Watson would be more of a conservative because he defended Drew Brees' relationship with Focus on the Family.
Ah, okay.
And so they thought...
All right, yeah. So let's hear what Laura Ingraham has to say.
And it's actually something that I agree with.
All right, Benjamin. Well, I think that Duke would have not been thrilled about your not being there. But we'll leave it at that. I mean, the college sports would certainly be a lot different today if we went down a color-coded way of figuring out college admissions. I mean, that's resegregating the country. Why do we want that?
Well, no, because segregation, as you know, is government mandated.
Yeah, I get it.
This is not segregation.
Yeah.
This is if you read the article and see what
I get it. You faced me.
I read the article. All right, we got to go. Ben.
Yeah, there you go. So,
That is
and
not
I
what
want to
you
make it
expected
clear,
him to say.
incidentally, when you're talking about a university like Duke or Georgia, the 100 guys who may be on a football team, I don't think you're going to be you're going to be segregating the schools if those 100 athletes or 50 or however are African American on that team go to a historically black university. I mean, in many respects, it makes a ton of sense. I mean, one, these athletes should be paid as professionals, but if they're not, at least put it into a school that is going to serve underserved communities and provide more scholarship and scholarship money and become more competitive. I mean, it's a great idea.
This really illustrates why, despite what Candace Owens says, there's really no home for black people in the Republican Party, right? Like, he's a black conservative, but they just cannot, like, there's just too much stuff where they're just talking completely different
Well, there's
language.
no home. That's, I mean,
stunning.
There's no home for, Artesia and I were talking about, like, for a person of color who might just be like a normal conservative. You have to be like, actually the KKK is either, they're either Democrats. You have to be a disingenuous, total crackpot. You can't just be like, hey, I'm a little bit of a
Do you know
right-wing
how
suburban
mad
guy.
Laura Ingraham was with her producers after that segment?
We've heard how mad she can get with her producers.
Do you know how mad she is with
Do you
those,
remember
those
that
producers?
clip?
Oh, yeah. Where
A couple years ago,
yeah.
she freaked out.
Oh, yeah. She's freaked out at some people. How did you not do a pre-interview with him? How did you not do a pre-interview with him? And if he lied, he's never coming back on this show. Because she had nothing. She had no response. Zero. I got hoodwinked, she's thinking. We've got to find a new black athlete to come on and criticize this idea. It's segregation all over again.
Oh, he just so politely.
Because of the weeks-long specials she's done on segregation in education in this country and how much she is really, really fighting against it.
Yeah,
Laura really fucking cares about that. Laura Ingraham because she hates it because we're resegregating and she just wants to be in a rainbow.
And she hates that.
And she hates that. She hates that tremendously. That's why she wrote about the Obamas so much.
Let's talk about this Think Progress thing for a while, because this is really upsetting to me, actually, on some level. Look, the Center for American Progress back in 2004 when this thing was launched, I don't know when they were launched. Was it 2003, 2002, 2001, somewhere around there? You have to understand that there was very little infrastructure left of center at all. Left of center at all back at that time. And, but even at that time, people would talk about it. Some people there too. It was like the Clinton administration in exile. And at one point, Center for American Progress realized like, so much of this is happening online. We're going to create Think Progress. Very helpful tool for someone in my business. There just wasn't the resources that we have today. And you had staff who were going out there and they were digging up stories, finding stories, reporting on stories that you just wouldn't see in the mainstream press. And some very good people came out of there. Amanda Turkle started her career there, I believe. Who else? There was, what's that? Millhiser, David Sirota was a cap. I think he wrote for Think Progress a little bit too, actually. It has become a little bit less relevant as the years have gone by because there's a lot more competition. And to a certain extent, ideologically, they ended up not moving as much with the rest of the, I think, the Times on some level. In some areas not. But still did some good reporting. They unionized. And back when they unionized, in 2018, I think it was, let's look at this. Even near Tandon. Oh, different unions. Well, they unionized at one point. I can't remember when it was. But here's near Tandon. Salary claim. Well, let's play this.